What's up, everybody? Rothstein here, Betting Public Sports Show. I'm your beloved host, Fame Rothstein, a.k.a. Michael Snackson. Today is Wednesday, February 4th, 2026. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Leave comments. Share the video, okay? Before I start, I'm a little remiss. My homie of... I've known him for over 40 years. I'm not even 50 yet. He just turned 50 on the 1st of February. You know, we graduated high school together. We've known each other since second grade. Wasn't homies when we first met. But, you know, throughout the years, we had gotten cooler and cooler. Then by the time we got to high school, we was peanut butter and jelly. So for happy birthday to my homie Rosh. Like I said, he turns 50. You know, I'm not even 50 and got like several partners, several people I'm good with that I've known for at least 40 years. You know, we old heads now. We get to talk that shit. Like, you know, we get to say shit like, you know, somebody asks you, hey, how you doing today? I can't call it. If I call it, I might spoil it. We get to talk like that now. You know, we lost some on the way, you know, and rest in peace to them. But, yeah, like, it's a blessing. I was just talking to my barber about that. He's been my barber since I was 16 years old. I was like, other than my blood family, you are one of the few people that actually saw me grow old. You know, go from a young man to an old head. You know, he just looked at me and said, that's a blessing. I'm like, you're right. It's a blessing to, to get old. That's why I did that video a couple weeks ago. Why, I relish, I love getting old. But anyway, I want to talk to you about a couple things. This weekend, I'll have action for you Saturday and Sunday. Sunday will be all Super Bowl, Seahawks and Patriots. But Saturday, will be what we have. What's out? Definitely be some hockey in it because we kill hockey. Might be some college hoop block. Might not be. Might be some NBA. Might not be. I don't know. It might be all hockey. I don't know. Just got to see what's on the ledger. Saturday, all right? But a couple things I want to talk to you about. The first one, again, I don't come out here and try to act like I'm this remarkable podcaster with these remarkable thoughts and everything. Stuff I say, I don't find it to be that poignant. Is that if you know the subject and you're watching it, you see it. And several months ago, I did a story. I did a video about Michael Irvin. Like, we got to put him in his proper context. He's possibly the best. He possibly had the best football career of anybody. He's never been whack. Went to the top high school, St. Thomas Aquinas out there in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where he's from, Broward County. Went to the U, won titles with the U. Went to the Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys in the NFL. Won titles with them. Hall of Famer, college and pro football Hall of Famer. It's just that obvious. And to go from, to play at his high school, I'm going to assume, I haven't heard this, I'm going to assume that he was given a scholarship to St. Thomas Aquinas because he's number 15 of 17 kids. I doubt they had much money, discretionary income growing up to pay for parochial school tuition. I'm going to assume Michael Irvin, because of his football prowess, got a scholarship to that school. Just like he did to the University of Miami Hurricanes. He's never been whack in football, ever. Didn't come out of nowhere. Like Jerry Rice came from Mississippi Valley State, or HBCU. Nobody probably heard of him in high school. Terrell Owens, another guy. Tennessee Chattanooga. Probably didn't hear much about him in high school. That's why he ended up at Tennessee Chattanooga. Randy Moss got kicked out of a school. Florida State. He got kicked out of Florida State. That's how he ended up at Marshall. all these top receivers, and Michael Irvin's always been the top receiver at the top programs. Because he was too strong of a player. If he was in dirt at Miami, they didn't kick him out. You've heard of all these different college players get kicked out of school. Cam Newton and just everybody. A lot of them. Never was that with Michael Irvin. But I bring up him because now Bomani Jones, former ESPN guy, does the podcast, what is it called? The Right Time. And I like Bomani. I'm not necessarily his biggest fan. I think tries to be a little too esoteric at times. But now he's coming out saying what? What I've been telling y'all for months. Except he tried to, change it a different way. What does he say? Michael Irvin is possibly the, what do you say? Culturally relevant football player ever. Oh, really? You gonna say that now after I've been saying that for several months now about Michael Irvin? Putting him in his proper context? We see the antics on the sideline and stuff with the Miami U games and whatnot. That, he's not playing for the camera. That's him. You young people think he's playing for the camera and he's either old dude doing... No, that's him. That's who Michael Irvin is. He's a football guy. Trust me, whatever sport you play, you would want Michael Irvin on your team. A guy like Michael Irvin that's dominant for his position. He dominates his position, but he one of those rah-rah type dudes. He gonna be with the shits. And now about Bomani Jones is saying that, and it's just like, I've been telling y'all that for years. Like now, I'm not saying Bomani biting my shit. I would never say that about anybody unless you just come out and just do it and it's just so blatant. I would never say Bomani's doing that. All I'm saying is, damn. You got guys like him saying what I said months ago. Make sure your friends and family is listening to my shit. Huh? But it's not the main thing we came to talk about. We came to talk about our boy, Kansas City Chiefs quarterback, more than likely future Hall of Famer, Patrick Mahomes. What'd he do? Nothing for his dad. Because once again, his dad done caught a DUI. Damn, Patrick Jr., how's you walking around with this man's name? You walking around with this man's arm talent. Patrick Sr. was a pitcher for the Mets and the Twins. He was a black major league pitcher. Looks like a pitcher, long and slim with it, long ass forearms. Patrick played baseball. Stuck with football. Patrick played football, basketball, baseball in high school, I believe. Stuck with football. So the arm talent didn't come from your mama. The arm talent didn't come from your mama. How's your daddy getting DUIs? And you sitting here with a $500 million contract. Nigga, please. Boy, you need... that's what I'm saying. I'm telling you, I don't care what nobody... Until Patrick tells me otherwise, I tend to believe that that Patrick's relationship with his dad is perfunctory at its best. If Patrick's dad wasn't a former major leaguer, Patrick wouldn't fuck with him. But he has to, because they're going to always bring up the fact that he grew up the child of a former pro athlete. No matter what, he can't escape that. You're the child of a former athlete, so his name, his name always popping up, the name always coming up. Got the same name, Patrick Mahomes, Pat Mahomes. And so Patrick can't run from it, so he has to do little perfunctory shit, little shit to show like, hey, I still love my dad. I told you that after that one Super Bowl, Patrick's there with his wife, the little cute little wife, and he goes up, and his dad, they give each other a hug and embrace, blah, 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 and all this shit. It looked, if you looked at it, like I said, perfunctory. Very little effort. It was just like they were doing it, and they realized the camera was there. But the thing that nobody talks about is that Patrick pulled his wife behind him. Dad can't embrace His daughter-in-law? Or is it known that you don't really fuck with dude like that? You're just doing it for the camera. You don't trust him. You don't want your wife around him. Does he know the grandkids? You know, something about you biracials. In the last 10, 15 years or more have been shitting on black people when black people was always there to accept you. Your black family always accepted you. Your white family, your mom got kicked out, got excommunicated from the family and whatnot. Uncles didn't want to fuck with you. Unless unless they saw that you had a amazing athletic talent. But now, all of a sudden, y'all want to start, dismissing your black dads and your black family. Like, that's some bullshit. Especially with you, Patrick, you specifically. All these other biracials that are doing that, they might have their reasons, blah, blah, blah. But you, Patrick Mahomes, walking around with that man's name and arm talent, that random ass skill that you have, that you inherited from him. He's walking around getting DUIs. Now he might face time because he was on probation for another DUI. Dad, I got $100,000 a year for you to get a damn driver. Or whatever it's going to take. Within reason, of course. You don't need it, if you want to drink, fine, but you cannot get behind a car ever again. I got people to take care of you for at least the next 10 years till I retire. Because Patrick still got a good while to go before he retires, good 10 years. He's got a while. He's going to be playing for a while. The Chiefs, their down year was probably a one-off. They were so desperate they went back and got Eric Bieniemy, who Patrick supposedly didn't like him. While he was the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs. But nonetheless, how are you letting your dad go out like this? Mom, your mom, don't she like run a hair salon or something like that? She do something like that. Yeah, hair salon. And so I guess she's doing okay. From the looks of things, she... But like this, I wouldn't be surprised to find out she had a little issue with the nose candy. I wouldn't be surprised if that was true. I just can look at her and see, like, yeah. Yeah, you can just tell you can just look at her and tell. From where I see, but maybe that didn't. That's why I say I wouldn't be surprised if I found it out, But your dad can't go out like this, Patrick, and you can't sit back while your dad goes out like this. Your brother is a weirdo. Your brother's on some wild shit. And you know what people say about him. But you're letting the men in your family just go out like suckers. You cannot... Your brother's one thing, but dad, the nigga who spit you out the tip of his you-know-what? You gonna let him go out like this with DUIs, going to jail on shit that's very preventable? Hey, Dad, listen, I'm gonna get you a chauffeur. I just don't like Patrick Mahomes is a very unlikable guy for this. I do not like this guy. No way in hell if I had all that money, my dad's going out on DUIs. Getting the DUI, I ain't getting that. No, man. I got $100,000 for you for a chauffeur. This all this person does is drive you. They ain't got no other job. They only if you don't go nowhere for 3 weeks or for 4 days, then they don't go they don't do shit for 4 days. Their job is to be at your beck and call. You need a ride, blah blah blah. They're picking you up within 15 minutes. Patrick, you ain't got a homie to do that? Or one of your dad's homies? Something? Dad, you going to the casino? All right. Dale gonna come get you. You know, or you're going to do this or that. You need to go to the grocery store. You need to go to Kroger. You need to go to Piggly Wiggly's, whatever. I don't know. So-and-so gonna come get you. You're not driving, Dad. But no, Patrick, you know, like I said, the relationship is clearly perfunctory. It's just there. They don't really, he don't really fuck with his dad, and it's sad to watch. But I don't know. You tell me, what do you think? Am I missing something? Does dude really fuck with his dad that tough? Would you allow your dad, if you had all the money Patrick Mahomes got, would you allow one of your parents to catch multiple DUIs? Should Patrick be more involved in helping his dad, through this stage of his life? Son's a super mega star. Dad's a has-been, not even married. I think he's got hey, he does have another son that was playing Division I football for like Rice a couple years ago. I'm sure he probably graduated by now, even with the extra years from the COVID shit, the way they do the NCAA now. But yeah, I don't know. These questions and more will be answered on the next episode of Soap. I'll be back. I'll holler at y'all. I'll holler at y'all Saturday. Be safe. Peace.